What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining. Please share and tap the screen to boost the live. How are you guys doing tonight? Let me know if you can hear me okay. Did you guys see the solar eclipse today? I did. I had some mylar, which is like this sun ray reflecting material, and I got to see the corona, which was cool. Yeah, how cool was that, eh, Francine? What's going on, guys? So we're looking for some opposition. If you can share the live and if you can tap the screen and like the live, that'd be super cool. All right. Yeah, it was amazing. It was gorgeous. All right, guys, we're looking for some opposition. So if you know anybody, please share the live out to them. We're discussing what a woman is, why LGBTQ should not be taught in schools, and how you can't be transgender without having gender dysphoria. If you know anybody who thinks otherwise, please share the live with them and let's get them up here. It was amazing. Nature is a beautiful magician. Yes, it is. I agree wholeheartedly. What's going on, boss lady? How are you doing? Did you catch the solar eclipse today, boss lady? Guys, I've been hearing so much drama going on TikTok. How's it going? What is going on? TikTok. For real. What do you guys think of the background? You like the new artwork? Does it work for you? I hope I'm not shadow banned. I got bananaed a couple times last week. What's going on, Dak? Then I'm going to have to see some videos of it. Yo, boss lady, I saw this crazy video of the solar eclipse from an airplane view. That was crazy. If you can find that video, that's probably like the best one you could find. Thank you for liking the live, guys, and sharing it out. Yeah, it was super, super dope. And I tried to get some like good quality pictures on my phone, but I wasn't able to, I guess, fuddle around with the settings. Like I'm not good with photography. What's going on, Nicole? How you doing, sweetheart? Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, so like I'm not like very proficient at the settings of the camera and stuff like that. So I just tried to put some mylar over it. That didn't work. I just took a picture of it, tried playing around with the exposure and stuff like that, but didn't really do anything. Thank you so much, boss lady, for sharing the live. Oh shoot, how was that? I'm sorry you're not feeling well, but moving can be very stressful. Very, very stressful, especially when you're moving across state lines. Thank you so much for sharing it out. Hey, crazy bird, what's going on? Congratulations on reaching level 11. Guys, if you haven't joined the team, join the team so you can get a notification every time I post a video or every time I go live. All right, we got someone in the request.
Uh, just I want to preface this by saying, please don't drop me and let me explain myself before you do.
Sure,
But I
Tyrone. How
feel that
old
your
are you,
board is
please?
very disrespectful.
No worries. How old are you?
I'm 38.
38 years old. Cool. So, which would you like to discuss first?
Do you understand what I said as the preface?
Yes, you said it was very disrespectful.
Yeah, I think you need to put on there somewhere that if any of these things apply to you, you need to seek mental health advice ASAP.
What do you mean by that?
If anybody assumes that they are anything but what you have on the board, they need to seek mental health immediately.
So, if an adult human female thinks they're a woman, they should seek help.
Now, if adult woman female thinks that they are a male, they need to seek help.
Right.
If someone thinks LGBTQ shit needs to be taught in school, they need to seek help.
We agree. What
So
about
the
that?
only offense I have to your board is you need to put some sort of, I don't know, 1-800 number on there for the people that think otherwise.
Okay. Do you know of an 800 number we can point people in the direction of Tyrant?
I can find you one.
Cool. I'm just here to host a debate. That's all.
I'm not trying to debate you. I just feel like these people want to be heard,
Hmm.
and I get that you're giving them a space to come and scream at you, but I think giving them a 1-800 number would be a really good option.
Cool. I don't think they would take it, but I'm
No,
more
they
than willing
won't.
to put it up.
And you know, and I know they won't.
But I'm just here to speak my truth and share my opinion and debate it. And I
No, it's
appreciate
not
that
your
you.
truth. It's natural truth. Let's be honest with each other.
Well, it's my truth. That's for sure. It's the truth I know. Right? What's going on, King Light? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I just wanted to hop up here and let you know that I am not in opposition, but I do. I'm here to support the live. I sent some gifts. I did follow you because I like listening to people debate about this stuff, especially people on the other side. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm definitely here and I support it, my guy.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Do you mind if I drop you down and
Oh
keep
no,
you in the
go no,
comments?
go ahead. I already knew you was going to. I just wanted to jump in here and show my support.
I appreciate you, King. You have yourself a wonderful evening, man. Thank you for your support. Good evening, Santa. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well, Raw. I'm 47. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I know. I know you. I know you. You don't got to give me your age, sir.
You know,
Did
I
you?
wanted to tell, hey, Natty, I wanted to tell that guy that was up here that was saying, oh, put up some sort of a notice that if you need to seek mental help, if these qualify, the modern psychiatry affirms people's gender identity, and gender affirming care is the medicine that's backed by science and prescribed by doctors. So if he was saying that he wanted trans people to get gender affirming care, I think that's a big W, right?
Sure. I think. Well, did you see one of my most recent videos, Santa, where an undercover adult went undercover as a 14-year-old teenager and was offered not only hormone blockers and HRT, but was also given an immediate appointment for review of a mastectomy.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen that, but you wouldn't get both hormone blockers. You wouldn't get puberty blockers and HRT. Or are you talking about testosterone? Well, you're talking about a trans guy. Yeah, you would have to get blood tests and stuff. Like I mean, I don't think a minor would be able to access that care with just by walking in. It's
Yeah,
just not
so
that kind of care.
in the province where I live, it's in Quebec, and so the schedule is that minors at the age of 14 years old don't require consent to access gender affirming care. You cannot get any reassignment surgeries at least until the age of 16. But you can be administered hormone blockers and HRT or opposite sex hormones without consent from a parent. So I find that to be alarming because the way that I understand gender dysphoria to be, because would you agree, Santa, that gender affirming care are for those who are suffering from gender dysphoria, or do you believe that individuals who are identifying as transgender should have access to gender affirming care as well?
Well, I want to be clear that any minor needs to have a diagnosis. They need to be suffering from gender dysphoria and be under the care of a therapist and a
Hmm.
psychiatrist to access that care. As far as adults go in America, it's there's a different standard, and we could definitely have a conversation about that. I want to be clear. I don't know about what's going on in Canada, but I don't think minors should be able to access HRT without the consent of their parents or the a team of doctors and stuff. Like I don't I that's crazy that that's going on. And what did you say, Quebec?
Yeah, in Quebec. Yeah, I can forward you an article later on if you like.
I
I can
want one
DM that
too.
to you.
I want one as
But
well, if you don't mind.
sorry, go ahead, Natty. Thanks
I
for joining, by the way. And
Hi.
so,
I
what?
love what you're doing here. And if it's not too much to ask, I don't know if you know me, but I want the article as well because that doesn't sound right at all. Because that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah,
Um, I I, hun-
absolutely.
I 100% agree with you on the you can't be trans without having gender dysphoria. That is a given. Like there's genuinely people out there who are saying, you can be trans, and yes, there are trans people that cannot have no longer have dysphoria about certain attributes. Yeah, but
Hmm.
that is the medical it makes me so frustrated, like almost to the point of angry. Like, so thank you. That needed to be said. The LGBTQ should, I don't really see how it could be harmful to teach tolerance. Tolerance, yes. As far as like, the like safety with like, contraceptive and stuff like that. Yeah, like do that because I learned it in what? I think it was like eighth grade. They were teaching
Right.
us like STDs and stuff. And yes, it should include like same sex people, which, I was taught that too. And this is not, and I'm older. I'm not old, but like, and the adult human female thing, yeah, if you're including, female neurobiology, which you might not agree with, then I do agree with that. Oh,
Absolutely.
this right here. Okay.
Yeah, so an investigation by Radio Canada or Radio Canada, CBC's French language arm, revealed how 14-year-old girls in the province can quickly obtain a prescription for cross-sex hormones without medical referral or the consent of their parents. Trans Express took to the polarizing topic of child transitions with interviews with trans youth who are happy with their transition and gender affirming healthcare providers, but, and I can't read that, but also with detransitioners and gender, I can't read it, voices. So, that to me is alarming because, and Santa, I wanted to ask you this question before. So I'm so sorry about this, Natty. I'm just going to circle back to Santa for a second. My understanding of gender dysphoria, just like you put it, you have to be monitored or evaluated by a psychotherapist and a therapist for a minimum of 6 months. And the reason that we do that is to evaluate whether or not the symptoms of distress, depression, and anxiety are insistent, consistent, and persistent. So, we can talk about the adults if you want to, and that's fine if you don't want to. But my contention is that based on this article, minors can access it, without that required evaluation, and without the consent of their parents, right? And again, I live in Canada and you live in the United States, so there's different laws and things of that nature. But what are your initial thoughts when we're seeing healthcare professionals bypass that evaluation process and simply fast track them onto those types of therapies?
Well, it seems totally terrible and mind blowing. I can't imagine a minor accessing that kind of care and not having like a home environment that understands what's going on, or like a care team, like a psychiatrist or a therapist, are just going to give them HRT, and that just is really difficult for me to believe. And yeah, I think it's terrible. And I'm really clear about my view. I'm not telling people that they need to get their kids gender affirming care. I'm
Mhm.
saying shouldn't be outlawing it. That the parents that access this care, their kids are very much suffering, and statistically, it's proven to be medically necessary care. But I believe it should be vetted and gate kept, and like it's terrible if somebody gets the wrong care, and nothing should be fast tracked when it comes to minors. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I think you and I agree on that. And I guess, do you want to talk about whether or not adults should have access to gender affirming care without a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, or do you want to not want to touch that today?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, I've talked to a lot of trans people, and a lot, especially binary trans people, transsexual people like Natty, have suffered significantly from dysphoria, and it's had such an effect on their life that they don't think of it as separate from their identity. They think of it as an integral part of their identity. But I have talked to trans people who haven't suffered as much, and if you think about it, Raw, like everyone deals with stress differently. Like you could have an incongruence and it could be messing you up and making you depressed, and you could still have the incongruence, and it could not be like devastating you with the dysphoria.
Hmm.
And as an adult, if you wanted to access this care, um, I definitely think they should check you for like psychological things and stuff like that. I don't think they should just hand out hormones willy-nilly. I don't really think that's what's going on, but it's more minors that we're having the conversation about. So
Cool. My thoughts on that are I absolutely do feel as though that this type of therapy should be reserved for individuals with a diagnosis of gender dysphoria. Anybody who is dealing with any psychological issues, shouldn't necessarily, we shouldn't be setting the precedent, excuse me, that you can access such, permanent therapies, or access medication without going through the process of psychotherapy and therapy to see if you can resolve the personal issues or traumas that might be causing depression or anxiety in your life. And I feel like the landscape today, especially in Western society, we've seen videos of, pharmaceutical companies approaching doctors at hospitals and, just letting them know what some of these therapies and surgeries could bring in terms of revenue. And I just find that that's a very poor message, where the message should be focused more around improving the overall life of the patient itself, right? And not so much focused on the cost of what these therapies can bring to the hospital or bring to the doctor,
I
if
have
I'm
a
making any sense.
yeah, I have a question. So, are we talking about this for adults, or are we talking about this for minors, specifically middle schoolers and like early high schoolers?
Yeah, I don't think minors should have access to therapy, gender affirming care such as hormone
So we're talking
blockers.
about this for adults, correct?
Yeah, well, my stance is for adults as well. Like, if you don't have a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, you should not have access to gender affirming care.
So why? I'm talking about like minors, people under the age of 18. We're talking about people over the age of 18, 18 and above, right? Who have can make their own life decisions with their own money, with their own
Hmm.
whatever. Why? Because who does it
Well,
hurt?
if I can afford to buy morphine because I suffer from depression and I want to, escape this reality that causes me depression and anxiety, just because I have the money to do so, should I be able to access, you know, morphine?
Yeah, if a doctor somehow, right, you go through all the extra steps where a doctor tells you in-depth description, in-depth about what this does to you, how this will affect your body, and then they prescribe you the appropriate medical necessity that you need for your body, I don't see what's wrong with that.
They shouldn't be.
So. So, sorry, just to clarify, you're saying that somebody who's not suffering from gender dysphoria, if they have the financial means and they have the support of a doctor, meaning, yeah, you don't have gender dysphoria, but I'm in favor of writing you a script for this therapy because you can financially afford to do so. You think that that's appropriate?
I mean, if they have the money, if they have the will to do so, they should because it's their body. No one else should be able to control that. But also to get just to get hormone therapy for adults, it's not a cheap or quick process. You can't go to the doctors and be like, hey, I want this, and they give it to you. It takes tests. Like you actually have to take multiple tests to make sure they're not messing up your body in the worst way possible because you can't just give out hormone drugs. That's not how that works. You have to test someone's body multiple times to make sure that the drugs not only doing the things they need to do, but also it's the right and proper amount for said body.
All right, you want to read this?
It's a very zoomed in thing, so I won't be able to read it
Yeah,
properly.
no worries. I'll read it for you. An investigation by Radio Canada, CBC's French language arm. Okay, so we have CBC in Canada, which is Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and Radio Canada is the French division of it. And they revealed how 14-year-old girls in the province can quickly obtain a prescription for cross-sex hormones without medical referral or the consent of the parents.
So they proved that a one hospital or maybe a couple hospitals are breaking the Canadian law, which I have zero clue about. Right, I'm speaking specifically for America. That's what I'm sticking with.
Right.
So
But we've heard stories like I've interacted with content creators who are trans on this platform, and they did not have a minimum of 6 months evaluation in order to receive a gender dysphoria diagnosis, so that they could access gender affirming care. They were actually fast tracked after just one visit by a therapist and psychotherapist.
yeah, sometimes it doesn't take multiple therapists to figure something out. Like it took me one appointment with the psychiatrist to figure out that I had autism. Like it doesn't always
Right, right.
take
But when it comes to
hundreds.
gender dysphoria, do you know what the evaluation process looks like?
Not an in-depth thing because I've never experienced
Okay.
it myself because I never plan on experiencing it myself. But I do know for a lot of different places it varies. For
Hmm.
some, it could be extremely illegal and just quickly fast. For other places that go through the process necessities and depending on someone's financial stability, it could take up to a couple of months to a year, maybe more, depending again on someone's financial stability and how quickly they can pay for the process.
So typically, when it comes to gender dysphoria, it requires that you be evaluated by a psychotherapist and therapist for a minimum of 6 months. And the reason that it's minimum 6 months is because they need to determine that their symptoms of distress, depression, and anxiety are insistent, consistent, or persistent. So tell me, how can an individual or how can a professional make the determination that a patient has been suffering from these symptoms insistently, consistently, and persistently over the course of 6 months if they've only visited them for, we'll call it, a handful of hours?
Again, I think it depends on person to person. And again, also I think it depends on who you go to and how prevalent your situation is. Some people could be quicker, some people could be faster. That's why it says minimum 6 months. Doesn't mean at like you have to do 6 months. If you have a problem, then you can you can try to fight for legislation to where it has to be an X amount of time. But
Right,
again,
but
it still
that's what a
just
minimum
varies from person to person depending on someone's financial.
that's what a minimum requirement means, right? Like you have to do a minimum of 6 months evaluation. You can't say do 1 month and be like, well, we've deemed that this person is gender dysphoric. No,
Wait, 1 month isn't a minimum.
right, 6 months is the minimum.
I want to say that if it's done, in one visit, that's terrible care. It sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. And the standards of care that I've heard in America is it generally takes a year to get the dysphoria diagnosis for a minor. But if puberty is happening, then they fast track it to 6 months. I've never heard of it being less than 6 months to get that diagnosis. And they would fast track it because there's just a small window of time for you to pause puberty called Tanner stage 2, and it's based on the minor's own biology.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Santa. Percy, if you don't mind, I just want to invite some of the other panelists to speak as well, and I'll circle back to you. Conservative Coco, thank you so much for joining. How are you this evening, and did you get a chance to see the eclipse?
Hey, Rob. Um, no, I was driving my dog to the appointment, and I didn't see any eclipse. It was like raining and cloudy. So I was like, isn't it supposed to be dark?
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it never happened for me. So
Oh, yeah. 1 second, Nate. I'll do that. Sorry, Coco. And is your dog okay?
yeah, my dog's fine. She's a puppy, so she's just getting her shots.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. What are your thoughts on the topic today?
I think women are adult human females. I think that transsexual women, biologically are men. I think that socially they're women, which is why I think they're trans women. LGBTQ should not be taught in schools. I agree. I don't think Stonewall's like an issue to teach in school, maybe like senior year in high school or maybe like junior year, but like even senior year, most seniors are 18 or older. I think Stonewall is.
That's not the only historically queer thing that happened in history.
Yeah, no, I know there's several, but I don't need my child coming home and saying, Mom, I feel like I'm like gender fluid, and I'm gonna sit
That's
here
like
and
not how that would work either. Talking about the unalivement and the torture and the this illusion of like how queer people were treated in history throughout the world, but specifically America, will not make your child queer. If your child comes home to you saying,
I
"Hey,
didn't say
mom,
that.
yeah,
I
I'm
didn't say
gender
that.
fluid," it's because they were already gender fluid and it was already on their mind,
I
or they
never
had the thought of
said.
it
I
someday because they saw on the
never
internet and they just get some stupid idea
said.
from some random person on the internet.
Yeah, I never said that. Like that would be one of the topics of conversations. I just said there's no educational values that my child could obtain learning
Yes, there
about.
is. So if your child's in American history, right,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't talk about the AIDS epidemic, a crisis that America failed at,
Mm-hmm.
that's literally purposely not teaching your child that America has done something wrong in history. It's
Yeah.
teaching your
So
child that like America has always been this, that, and the third, when it really hasn't. And then
I need to
teaching
apply
about
that.
not just about
Hold on.
Stonewall riot. It's not
Hold
teaching about
on.
the fact that many Americans
Oh my
were
God.
unalived because of Christian ideology in America that was dominating our government. There are
Oh my
many important reasons to why you should teach children every single bit of part of history, regardless if you think it's important or not. That's why when you teach like slavery, you should teach that there were literal slave farms that forced slaves to have intercourse if they were family or not, right? If they were minors or not.
God.
It's part of history and something that should be taught, regardless of how you think it feels, because you want to introduce your children to a
Well
unsolving belief
said.
system.
Well said. Wait, conservative.
Persia.
Oh, go, go.
Why are you bringing up Christianity?
Yeah, it's not relevant. Like that was anyway.
I mean, I
Because
could
it
just
was
sit here.
Christian ideology that primarily
Wait.
affected
I
queer
could sit here
people.
and argue secular ideology has unalived way more people throughout history, and I'd be
Yeah,
correct.
no,
Also
mention
talk
it.
about.
Mention 100%. Mention why people were being unalive throughout history.
Okay, based on
Why?
so
Because force wins always.
there's a
Maybe.
bunch of men talking like so I want to like challenge Coco here on this one point. Like, I mean, when I was in when I was in school, what are you doing? Uh, uh,
Anyways.
It's the
when I was
thing I do when they send me tiny dinies. I go rawr.
oh, thank
Oh,
you.
I thought you were indicating cat fight. I was like, damn, it's not even that bad.
What in the ADHD is going on here? Okay,
No, you're good,
so
babe. Go.
so I just want to challenge something Coco said. Stop doing that. Um, so you know, and when I was in seventh grade, I learned more details of the atrocities in Poland and Austria that went on there in the 1930s. And I mean, there was, you know, very no, don't do that to me, Logic. Stop. Um, like they did describe, you know, about homosexuals and, you know, trans people. They would make us wear you know, us wear upside down pink triangles. Like that was part of our education curriculum, and it comes up, you know, in like English literature about homosexual people. It's not like it's like part of the curriculum, but you can't argue
I
with
was
it.
just no, I mean like Natty, I get it, but like I'm just asking like respectfully, like what educational values can my child obtain in their each and everyday life, and it goes back to like slavery.
Oh, I see.
If you really want to get
So
into slavery, we can also talk.
I'm a high school teacher, actually. I teach U.S. history and world history. I just got done teaching my sophomore class because that's the age range in my district that takes U.S. history. We just got done with the Lavender Scare. I don't know if anyone's super familiar with the Lavender Scare in here. It's basically an offshoot of the Red Scare during the 1950s, where they connected being homosexual with communism. And so the same ousting that happened with potential communists or suspected communists in the government also happened with people who were suspected to be homosexual with government jobs. And that wasn't just like, the Secretary of State. That was also like teachers, because public school educators are still technically government employees. And I did that because it's a good way to connect the idea of these big moments in history that, it's not just this little subsection of people. It actually happened to civil rights activists. It also happened to homosexuals, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there is value in it. And I would go back to the Winston Churchill quote of those who do not learn history are doomed to repeat it. And I would argue that we shouldn't repeat ousting people from their government jobs based on their sexuality.
Tolerance code. Like, it's okay
I
to
think
teach tolerance.
or ask questions and we're not ever able to answer them. I think that's wild. But sure, whatever.
Wait, you kind of cut out. I didn't hear what you said. My bad.
I was saying, can you hear me now or no?
Yeah, I think so.
I was saying it's crazy when conservatives, transsexuals are able to not answer questions, and like other people speak for us. When it's like actually a trans topic that's in the background.
Did I speak for you? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was asked a question, never was able to answer it, but usually conservative transsexual women are cut off because it's usually a liberal platform.
Oh, okay. Because you asked, does anyone have an answer to the question?
One at a time, guys, please. I don't mind the back and forth, but just try and keep it one at a time. Let's try not to cut each other off. All right.
I'm 110% sorry if I cut you off. It sounded like you had said, does anyone have an answer for this question? And I was like, oh, well, I like, this is my job. Like, this is what I do. I have like literally I'm sorry. Are you cutting me off? I'm so sorry. My bad.
Oh my God.
No, go ahead. You can cut me off. If I cut you off, go ahead.
It's all good. I guess it's predominantly like non-trans people speaking about trans issues.
Well, when the trans people make up like 2% of the population, it is more likely that there's going to be non-trans people in this panel.
Wow. That's wild. Do you see how people don't support trans people?
Yeah.
It's wild that you think the person who said we shouldn't be teaching about this in high schools is the one who is actively not supporting it. It's crazy. Anyways,
I've been supporting trans people before you probably even knew what a transsexual was. What the issue is that the issue is that my 7-year-old child would not be able to understand what transsexualism is.
Did I say 7 or did I say high school?
I'm just saying in general, 17 or 7. It doesn't really matter.
So then what's the issue
Why
with
wouldn't a child understand what a trans person is? I feel like it's a
right. But what I'm asking is, what educational values can they obtain in their each and everyday life?
Understanding there's different people in the world. Understanding that there are queer people in the world. Understanding
that makes them right. So they can file their W-2.
Everything in between.
Wait.
Okay, so I can't answer real life questions because no one cares about acceptance.
What was the question that was asked that you were trying to answer?
Someone's answer your questions when we are, and actually, let me go into my transness to fucking make myself a victim. Shut up.
Yeah,
that's not what's happening. Like,
let's listen to Coco's response. Let's listen to.
So clearly, this is not like. Do you see how they don't support trans people, Raw? Like,
hey, babes. Quite literally, I'm trans myself in the most.
Persia,
what perspective?
You can go one more time, guys. We can talk. We can have a discussion. If someone poses a question, let the person respond. All right. So Coco, I believe you were asked a question by Natty, and I'd like to give you the opportunity to respond to that.
I didn't even know what the question was, Natty. I'm sorry, babe. What were you asking?
Okay. So, there's a lot of people here being very rude to the trans people here. We're talking about trans people. We have a bunch of men and cisgender people like talking to us. So. Okay, I'm going to repeat without being cut off if that's not too much to ask, especially by Elle and Persia. Please. Please.
LMAO. Cope. Go ahead.
Please. Thank you. So, there was like very little trans and homosexual and lesbian um, topics brought up. It wasn't like a whole lecture. It was in like Roman, like literature and history and world history. We learned about the upside down pink triangle during the atrocities in the 1930s in Europe, in Austria and Poland. And like, don't you think it's acceptable at the very least for children? Like, it's age appropriate to teach them tolerance, because we learned tolerance for Black people. We learned about not Harriet Tubman. We learned about Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. And we should include Marsha P. Johnson. Like, I think that's totally fine. Like, do you agree?
I think that tolerance and acceptance should always be taught. I don't think that teaching my children about sexual orientation or gender identity should be, personally. That's just my opinion. But yeah, no, I think that children should be tolerant of minority groups. Sorry, my pets are being crazy.
Seriously, Coco, what are you feeding these animals of yours?
I'm sorry, what happened?
You focus on taking care of your pets.
Paul
Yeah.
Pita.
Oh,
What do
We're
you
wow.
just
feed
teasing
these
your cats,
animals?
Jamin. We're just teasing. Can I ask a question to the panel? Because what I've seen a lot on like the libs of TikTok videos and stuff. How do you feel about openly queer teachers? Like a teacher that has a picture, a male teacher has a picture of his husband, or like a non-binary teacher wants to be called mix or they them. How do you feel about that? That's my question. And I'm interested in what the teacher has to say.
Why
You
is
asking
the
the host or
why
me?
would
Because
the
you're going to
teacher
get like,
for sorry?
Damn, he literally asked me a question. Anyways,
oh,
He said the panel.
so
okay, let me just leave the live because this is clearly not
that
for
would be
trans
really
people.
nice, actually. Thank you.
Coco,
Actually,
you
yeah, how
just
about
did.
I actually leave because it's not like a trans space for trans
He
individuals.
literally
The
said he
cope,
wanted
oh
the
my god,
Yeah,
panel.
the
bye.
coping
No
and the
problem.
emotional manipulation is
Yeah,
so lame.
no.
It's so
Let's have the
lame.
actual trans people leave the app. Hold on.
It's so lame. Just
Yeah,
because you're
bitch, you're
trans doesn't
lame.
mean you're void of
Bitch,
like
you're
being a
lame.
bad
Bitch,
person.
you're
Okay,
lame.
so hold on,
Shut
Coco.
up, genuinely. Okay.
Okay, I didn't want Coco to leave, but I do wanna bring something up. Okay, so I live in Canada, and in Canada, teachers in the academia system have received a glossary of 519 terms, all right, to familiarize themselves with, all right, and so that they can be better equipped to provide these terms or definition of these terms to children, all right. So I just want to know, all right, from we'll call it elementary school into middle school, if you feel as though that these terms are appropriate, all right. There's 519. I'm not going to go through all 519 of them, but I'll do a couple of them. And I'll start in alphabetical order. So we have A, accommodation, ally, anti-racism. The next one is asexual. Now we go to B, bisexual, biphobia. Then we go to C, cisgender, cisnormativity, cissexism, colonization, cultural humanity. Now we're going to D, disability, discrimination, dominant group, drag king, drag queen, duty to accommodate, equality, equity, ethnicity, gay, gender, genderqueer non-binary, gender binary, gender expression, gender identity, gender norms, gender role, gender spectrum. I'm going to stop there. Children today in our school system, all right, and even young adults entering the workforce are performing sub-average when it relates to reading, writing, and arithmetic. So why would we start to introduce these terms when the children aren't even proficient at learning the basics?
Isn't it writing though?
Do you? Yeah,
Are
I was
all
gonna
those
say.
terms
So,
writing?
like, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but aren't all those terms part of English and
They
literature
are. They
and writing?
absolutely are.
Okay. So why would we take those terms away from them as they're growing up to make them less knowledgeable on English and writing?
Because it doesn't provide them with any skill.
It teaches
So,
them words. That's like saying you shouldn't teach
Right,
them
but
what
we
freaking
want, okay,
Jupiter
so for
means just
example,
because it will teach them any skills. What?
right, so I'll give you an example. So in academia, when we're teaching children the word woman, which definitions should we be teaching children? Should we
The
be
most
teaching
recent
them?
updated version.
Should we be teaching them concise, coherent definitions, or should we be providing them with incoherent circular definitions?
We
Because
should be
again,
teaching them.
we're talking about academia, right? So we want what these children learn in class to take what they learn and bring it into society, right? So if we're teaching what a woman is in a circular definition context, how does that provide clarity and the foundation and building blocks of language and the utility of language, especially at the age where children are developing and they need to have a clear understanding of what these words mean?
Yeah, can you read to me the exact definition that teachers have provided of what the word woman is? And I assume it's the most recent updated version for today's standards, correct?
I'll check. Let's see if they have it.
I don't know if Canada is different from the United States, but usually districts are not, not even like states are not always 100% the same. Cities are not 100% the same, and not even districts within the same counties are always, or not even districts within the same states are always going to have the exact same breakdown of things. So like a county in Texas or a district in Texas may have the definition woman and adult human female, while a district in New York City may have a completely different definition. So just looking up like what is the thing teachers teach isn't really going to give us a good answer.
And so when I looked, thank you, sorry about that. When I looked at the gender affirming toolkit, which includes the 519 terms, I went to W, and the only term listed under W was WSW. Persia, do you know what that stands for?
I do not.
It's women who have sex with women.
So
so here's my question. A child is between the ages of 9 and 12 years old. Why does a child need to understand the term WSW? How is that going to contribute to inclusivity, acceptance, and not prejudice and discrimination?
It's level stuff, honestly.
Because not everyone is straight, so when they're teaching like sex ed, it's
was for
important for them to
Persia.
teach other
I
people.
thought sex ed was mainly to teach you about how the human race procreates and the bodily anatomy.
But
Well,
don't
for
forget that just it
example,
also includes contraceptive education on
which and contraceptives can be used by any sexuality, boss lady. So it's not. I don't know what you're hinting
Interesting,
at.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you an example. So someone that is gay that shared their personal story on here about like when they were taught sex ed when it was in school. So I mean, it would have been, I don't know, maybe anywhere from 5-10 years ago. I'm not positive, but they were teaching just like about, you know, men and women having sex and how you can get pregnant and things like that. And so for him being gay, he just assumed that he couldn't get obviously a man pregnant, so it wasn't an issue. And so the point was he didn't learn about keeping himself safe. And so they need to tell
That's irrational. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's absurd.
That's irrational. That doesn't make any sense. No, it is though, because hold on. If a person, no, if a person thinks logically, if they're only teaching about those things, right?
We're talking about kids in high school.
Yeah, kids in high school who have access to the internet. Am I correct?
Oh
no.
No, hold on, one second.
From the internet. That is a crazy ass.
Wait, logically, what were you saying? I couldn't hear you.
I'm making a point, and I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm just pointing out a flaw in Boss Lady because she's made previous arguments about this before. So you can calm down, Pookie. What was your question, Duchess?
No, don't talk
No, I was trying to listen to you, but you were getting talked over. I wanted to hear what you were saying.
Oh yeah, I'm just confused as to why you would think that a child wouldn't be able to comprehend that there are dangers or like risks associated with having sex with anybody, simply because only heterosexuality was taught. I don't quite understand that.
I'm going to explain to you because in their perspective, when they were young, they were only taught about it being an issue and man and woman, it can create pregnancy. And that was like the focal point. So what I'm saying is it should be taught that everyone needs to keep each other safe. It doesn't matter who you're having sex with, you know, having condoms on, all that stuff. That's all I'm saying. It's important to address any demographic. It doesn't matter who you're having sex with and what you're doing. It just should be about keeping the, you know, kids in high school and whoever's doing it.
I think that's very, I personally think that's very rational because I'm bisexual, and I was also, because where I live, it's very what you would call heteronormative, and I still knew that there were, whether or not it was taught to me about having SCX with men or anybody else, it was always, I always knew that there were dangers nonetheless, and that you use condoms in any type of sex with a person. So I don't know how that person, came to that conclusion, but furthermore, I just wanted to say modern gender theory and gender ideology, as far as the UK is concerned, is considered a contested belief, therefore cannot be taught as fact. It can be taught as a belief system. It should be taught just as religion is, because it's contested. It's not factual. Nothing about
That
gender
kind of would
ideology.
circle it back to what's the skill that's being taught here.
Right. There really isn't a skill. It shouldn't be mandatory or obligatory. It really shouldn't be, because it's contested belief that is not factual. It's literally
Can
just as
That's weird and dumb. When you still teach
Wait.
both, even a contested belief system.
What was that?
Can,
When you still even
Well, we
teach a
don't have to
contested
call each
belief
other
system.
stupid to make our
Well,
point.
no, I'm not
No, it's
calling
fine. Listen,
logical stupid. I'm
it's
saying
okay. I
that
really don't
thought
care.
processes.
Continue.
Why don't you
Because
make
you
an
teach
argument for
contested thought processes and thought ideas.
Meaning
Like
that
I
it's
said,
not
you teach
rooted
religion
within.
if it's a contested thought process.
Yeah, it's not rooted within fact.
So
Right. So then,
Can I-
hold on. So if we're trying to develop, 1 second, please. If we're trying to develop skill, right? Why would we develop skill based upon something that isn't factual? Why would we want to do that?
to distinguish between fact
understand
and
history
opinion.
and
Wait,
understand, like,
Persia,
things that have
please.
gone
I'm
on
begging
in
you, Persia. Persia, I'm begging you.
Yeah,
This
but
is my
if you're
job.
distinguishing between fact and opinion, you don't teach the opinion as
So
fact.
yeah,
So
no,
I'm making
I
my
agree
point.
with you. I agree with you. Like, I don't think we should be teaching quote unquote like ideologies in school. That's why I think that distinguishing between fact and opinion is a good skill to have, and teaching kids that like genuine like skill of, because they're going to have to do this for the rest of their lives, figuring out what is fact and what is opinion. And I think that's a really, really good skill to have. So if you use this in a strategic, smart way as a teacher, I think it's a valuable lesson for kids to distinguish
Why is
between
determining fact and fiction used in the gender ideology? Why is that the particular?
You're also
example?
I think
acknowledging
it's
that
used
gender
in
ideology is
every.
fictional.
I think it's used.
I
in
mean,
every,
we've got gay Santa right here. They could be talking about Santa Claus.
Yeah, I think it's used in every. I think it should be used in every single subject that like it makes sense in. And so when you're in a sex ed class and you're reading things, you're reading articles, I think that's a totally valid like place to put it in, just
But
like
the
in
whole
history.
gender ideology has nothing to do with your sexuality, right? Isn't that like the whole shtick of it?
Yeah,
Well, I
because
think-
again, sexuality is sex based, and the
Right.
whole the TQIA, like whatever the fuck is on the other
Because
end
like
of the
yeah, a
the
health class
that
is
that gender identity. Hold on, can I finish, please? So gender identity is we're going to be talking about with trans people, and for sexuality, we're talking specifically about sex. And for trans people, literally the gender identity and the sex literally are opposite or are incongruent. So there's no point in teaching both. The both are very like they're kind of mutually exclusive at this point, as far as trans people are concerned. And it's actually very harmful to the LGB, because we're teaching people that gender identity now dictates sexuality, which yet again proves my point. It's literally just opinion.
Wait,
It's not
gender
factual.
ideology dictates sexuality.
I said
Can
gender
you explain?
identity. I said gender identity.
No, it doesn't.
It dictates sexual. Wait, I'm sorry. Can
that's what
you
you're
explain that
teaching,
one?
because you're teaching to us that if a trans woman is to be with a man, you're telling people that's heterosexual, and it really is.
Oh, okay. I see your point.
That's what I mean. So you
It
can't
is,
you can't
though.
teach
A trans
that.
woman's a woman, and that's the definition of
No,
woman.
sexuality. If you're going to make a gender sex distinction, sexuality is not gender identity based. It's sex based. It's attraction, emotionally, romantically, or sexually to the opposite or same sex.
Well, it's attracting to body parts and like social constructs of things.
No, we're not attracted to social construct. We're attracted to human beings, which are biological entities.
To
That's
a
a
very
ridiculous statement to
quick
me.
extent, a lot of people are attracted to like social constructs of other people's body parts.
Yeah,
like
attraction
people
to
are
social
attracted to
constructs is not sexuality. So you're just referring to something else, which is a complete non sequitur. That's not what I'm talking about. Thank you for the non sequitur, though. I appreciate it. Would anybody like to address my argument or no? Because
Yeah,
Persia, you
so
just be
teaching
yapping.
gender, it doesn't teach the sexuality is dependent on gender.
It is sex dependent if you're making a gender sex distinction. I don't
No,
make the
it's not.
distinction.
Okay, so I
So
think
I can I
you're
finish,
so
please?
harping on the fact that
I
sexuality
don't
has the
make a
connotation of
I
just
don't
a
make
small
a.
part of
Can
sex.
I
You know what I
finish,
mean?
Persia, and you not
Let
interrupt
Nate
me?
finish,
Because I was
please. I
literally
appreciate
responding to
that.
you, and you're
Thank
interrupting
you.
me, right?
Yeah,
So I
Natty,
don't.
can I drop you quickly for just one moment, and then you can come back up?
I.
Natty, are you cool with that?
Yeah, do it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
don't.
go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I don't make a gender sex distinction, so I would say it's gender based, and I would be implying sex. You don't even know what gender is, Persia. So
Yes, I do. What the fuck are you
well,
talking
what?
about?
Okay, Charlotte. Let's. Is it okay with the host if I do a quick reduction? Because I don't know if anybody has anything they want to add before I go.
Hey, Nate, I actually agree with you. But I also have like a criticism. Do you think that people, obviously, like a straight man typically is attracted to like a feminine, presenting woman, so, or
That's
female,
possible.
or
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah. I
feminine
think.
Straight men
presenting
are
female.
attracted to
Yeah,
women.
so I can see where you're going. I would say that it is possible for straight men to be attracted to passing trans women. I think it's possible. However, if they were to enter like some sort of romantic relationship, I would consider it homosexual, not heterosexual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So
I just wanted
acknowledge
to
that
make that
there.
distinction.
Yeah, so I acknowledge that it is. I believe it is possible because there are certain trans women who genuinely look like women, but I still would consider the relationship homosexual because it's two males. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Nate. I'm actually a big fan of yours. I enjoy your debate. So thank you for, being a voice on the app. To everyone commenting, boss lady, I have a right to be here, regardless of, anything happening outside of this. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I'll drop down again. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
good. Thank
All
you.
right. So Persia, because this is.
See,
Sorry.
I do disagree with you if you wanted to engage with me, or you could give
What did you say?
Persia.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. What was that?
I do disagree with you. I think
Sure.
that a man dating a woman, you could call that a straight relationship, and that could be a cis man or a trans man, a cis woman, a trans woman.
Yeah, but you don't know what a woman is, Santa. So how are you going to come to that conclusion?
I do know what a woman is, Nate.
No, you don't. You give a circular definition every time. What's a woman?
I don't give a circular definition every
Well,
time.
give one then. Go on.
Well,
Spit it to me.
here's the thing: like the whole definition game. Generally,
You
a
don't
woman.
know. Are you going to answer? Or are you just going to tell me that you don't have
Okay,
an
so
answer?
the Cambridge dictionary
Cambridge
definition is
definition of woman contradicts itself. A person cannot identify as female and be male. It's the stupidest definition I've ever seen in the history of definition.
When they're using the word female, it's not as a noun, but as an adjective. So, like, if you identify as
Female is not an
female,
adjective.
having
That's
a
just
woman's
grammatically
name,
incorrect.
having female pronouns, that would be living and
Wait,
identifying
hold on.
according
No,
to
you
the
can't.
construct that's made around females.
That's literally, hold on, stop. That's just grammatically incorrect. You don't refer to males as she. You're just referring to grammatical error. You're not addressing my argument. I'm asking you what a woman is. How can a person identify as female yet be male? That makes no sense.
They're not identifying as a female.
That's literally what the
They're
Cambridge
living and
definition
identifying
says.
as female, not
That's
as a
okay. So
female.
can I identify as something that I'm not, Santa?
You
Can
could
I do
live and
that?
identify as
Can I
females
identify?
do.
No.
That
Yes,
would
you
make you a
definitely
liar, would
could.
it
One
not,
second.
Santa?
Wait, no,
If
here's
I'm
the thing though.
identifying
Like,
as something
Oh
I'm
my
not,
God.
I
don't
want
they
to,
like
I
arrest
want to be
people if
honest
they're
with you. Like,
impersonating cops?
no, I just want to let me engage honestly. So, like, I get that you want to do this like logical argument, and that a circular
Yeah,
definition you want
because
to
it
say
has
is
to be
invalid.
logical.
I would say that most women are adult human females, but you don't always get it right. And if somebody tells me they're a woman, that's
Okay, but
basically
what
what it
is
takes.
that, Santa? You haven't answered the question. What is that?
What is that? It's just a type of person that could be so many different things. I'm
That
not saying
doesn't
any
answer the
stereotypes.
question. This is the thing. This is why I tell you I don't take any of you seriously because you guys don't answer any of the questions. I literally ask you what the words mean, and then you say you don't know. You say,
Well, no, I'm saying like 99
listen.
times out of
Oh
100,
my
I
God,
could
I'm
probably
not asking
identify
you about
women just by looking
probability.
at them.
So, okay, Santa, please stop. I'm not asking you about probability. That's not the question. The question is, what is a woman? Your subsequent response is, oh, it could be a multitude of things. That doesn't answer the question. If I answered any other question in that fashion, you wouldn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So can you please not either be honest and say you don't know what a woman is and you're just blindly accepting people, which is fine. It's ridiculous. Yes, it is, but it's fine if you want to do so. But don't tell me that you know what a woman is when you clearly do not. Please.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting conversation when we talk about sexuality and what goes into
That's not
what
what
you
he's
find
asking you,
attractive.
though.
Well,
See how
no,
he
I
just
was
doesn't
trying to
answer the
say that I
question.
was
It's
trying to
fucking
talk about
crazy.
this whole idea. It's a crazy idea that somehow
Well, could you tell us
trans
your idea
women.
after you tell us the definition of a woman?
Because you just keep
I
yapping.
gave you the
You don't
Cambridge
do anything.
Dictionary definition.
Okay,
It's
and
an
I said the
adult
You know
Cambridge
the
person.
answer.
definition. I
It's an
said to you,
adult person who lives and identifies as female.
a
That's
person
Sorry,
person
excuse
cannot
me. My
live.
apologies. I had to clear my
Sorry.
throat.
A person cannot live and identify as a female yet be male. Female is antithetical to male. The person
no,
Logically,
well,
I know the
I
answer
want
to
to tell
this
you
one.
logically,
Sorry, a person cannot identify. A person,
identifying just
yeah,
means telling what you are, who you
yeah,
are,
no,
what
no, but they're
something
not
is.
female though. So then that's not what they are then. So they're not
Logically, I know the
female.
answer to this one. I know the answer.
I'm sure you do. Go on, honey.
It's an adult human female.
Yeah, thank you for that. But I'm asking Santa what his own is because he's saying that persons are identifying as female. You would also have to subsequently define female. I bet you don't know what that is. This is the
Yes,
problem.
no, Nate, I've listened to these conversations.
Yeah, and you don't seem to learn anything.
It's
Can you
of or
define it?
denoting
Are
the
you
sex that
retaining?
could bear offsprings with the large gametes.
Okay,
But
and are
I
trans
want
women
to say,
okay?
like, when it comes to
Okay,
like
hold on.
people.
So hold on, stop. This
Okay,
is what you do. So just
Natural.
answer the question. Please do not pivot and start yapping about something else respectfully.
I
Right?
like to yap,
No,
Nate. You know that.
yeah, well, it's not interesting for anybody else when you start yapping about non sequiturs. It's not interesting, and it's not funny either, right? But Santa, do trans women belong to the sex that can produce large gametes? And bear offspring, do they belong to that sex?
Now, do they denote of that
No,
sex?
denotation. Stop. I've told you
I
what the
want.
word.
This is the thing. Logically, I don't
Okay,
say
hold
that
on.
trans women are female, and I don't say that you have to have any sort of
So
requirement to be a woman. So
okay,
I know that
hold on.
makes it kind of
So yeah,
slippery.
but you don't know what a woman is. So you keep talking about qualifications to be a woman, and all you're doing is presupposing what a woman is. You don't know what a woman is. You still don't know. So how are you supposed to make a
You just
judgment?
don't like my definition of it. Like,
No, stop. So don't gaslight me. It's literally just incoherent. You don't know what a woman is. I've just
well,
pointed out. I
write
pointed out that it's there.
Cambridge, and tell them to do a better job with their definitions because
Santa,
it's
so
Wait, hold
far,
on, stop.
the
That's just
only
an appeal
definition
to.
you've given is
That's
anyone. There's nothing.
Yeah, you just appealed to authority. You can't just say the dictionary says it, therefore it's true. That doesn't mean I'm not appealing to any definition. I can ground my argument irrespective of a definition. You just keep appealing to authority and saying the dictionary says it. Dictionaries contain circular definitions all the time.
Well, I want to say that this idea that we need to have a short, sweet a definition for a type of person when personhood is so complicated and like being men
Oh my
and women
gosh.
involves
We're
a
not
lot of
talking
things.
about personhood.
All you this is the thing. All you do is yap, Santa, because this is just a load of nonsense. I'm gonna let somebody else go because I don't want to get frustrated.
So I
Hey,
Because
just I
Santa,
just
it's
want to
not
say
all
this.
about
Anyway,
feelings. This is
Hold on,
Raw,
guys.
thanks for
fact.
having me, Raw. I
The,
appreciate
No,
it.
no, hold on.
oh, of
I
course
wanted
he's
to, I
running.
want to,
Of
I want
course
to
he's
ask you a
running.
question.
Okay,
Hold on,
Santa, I'm
Santa.
very
can I
disappointed.
finish? Because I was gonna say something. I said I was gonna finish and then let somebody else
Yeah,
go.
Nate, you can go.
Yeah.
You're right. So this is a part of the problem, by the way, and this is a very critical part of why people can't take the quote unquote be an ally or support the community, because we're literally asking you people what these words mean, and you don't have a clue in the world. You don't know jack shit about what you're talking about. So then we can't adopt a belief system that the people who maintain the belief system can't explain to us. We can't do that. It doesn't help us, right? So even if I were to come to you with a completely open mind, if anybody were to do so, nobody would have understood you. I guarantee you, if there was any open-minded person to listening to anything that you just said a while ago, they would have gathered nothing from what you said. That needs to be improved. That's all I have to say.
So I want to understand, Santa, your definition. I believe you use the language anyone who identifies as. So where it's confusing for me is if I see an individual like Jeffree Star, who we know does not identify as a woman, but identifies, like, expresses themselves in an effeminate manner. Do you not think that that would be confusing by your framework? Because, again, by your framework, I have to have a conversation with someone to know who they are, and I can't just rely on my instincts and visual aspects to determine what that person is either identifying or expressing as. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I want to tell you that you can rely on that. Visually, we almost always just know if someone's a man or a woman. The thing is when it comes to people, there's going to be exceptions to the rules, and
Not under the ideology
Wait,
trans
hold
framework.
people
on.
are
Not under the
exceptional.
I'm
ideology
sorry,
framework. They say
Courtney.
that you can't assume that.
No,
You know,
hold on. I'm so
I have to
sorry,
go. I
Courtney.
wanted to
Hold
ask
on. Gay
RawReal.
Santa.
Yeah,
You
hold on.
You
contradict
just
yourself.
said we obviously know what a man and woman is, but there's going to be exceptions. So why were you not able to answer logically his question? Why weren't you able to answer if you obviously know what a man and a woman are?
Well, I'm saying, like Raw was like, can he no longer trust his senses? And I'm saying, most times you can just trust your senses, but there's all sorts of reasons you might misgender someone. And I believe that trans people know themselves better than we
Can
know
you
them.
misgender
And
yourself?
the definition that I gave, is living and identifying as female, which means that the life
No,
that you're
we know
having.
what that means.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
we
you
know
know
what
what?
Gay
You're
that
fine.
Santa,
means.
Gay
That's just
Santa,
I.
you
That's
realize
just I do enjoy
you're just
interacting with you.
contradicting yourself, right? You're contradicting yourself. It can't be done. Like it's a circular definition. Like you basically anybody, and you can't under the ideology's framework. You're not supposed to assume people's pronouns, so or how they identify. So like you're saying assume, but your whole ideology goes against that.
I don't know. I don't. You don't know what my ideology
Oh,
is.
I don't know
Oh
what your
yeah,
I
we
think
ideology.
that's
do.
called
I
straw
I can
manning. I think
infer.
that's
That's
called straw manning.
that's not straw manning. That's
I
literally what you.
generally
No, hold
I
on,
don't ask people their pronouns,
Santa, hold
right?
on.
I just go like if they have a
Santa,
female name, I use
Santa.
female
Can you
pronouns.
stop steamrolling? Because you just accused her of straw manning, and there was no straw man. She didn't straw man you. That's literally what you just said. You said that trans people know themselves better than anybody, so we shouldn't assume. But then you're also talking about making assumptions. That's what she just pointed out. So that's not a straw man. That's literally what you said. You're contradicting
Well,
yourself.
she specifically was saying something about like my ideology and
Yes,
when
which
it
is your
comes to
belief
pronouns,
system. That's what she's
I
talking
I
about.
Okay, well, I wanted to ask Raw if all those words that the teachers were supposed to learn, were they supposed to learn them so they could understand what like the
Are you
12-year-old or
just
14-year-old
pivoting to
student?
something else? How can you
No, I
be
wanted
such
to
a
ask him, but
pivoter?
I
Are you
couldn't go
playing
word and
netball or
edgewise.
something?
It's okay, Nate.
You
It's fine.
literally
I have
stop.
a different
Don't.
vibe than you. It's
Oh my
okay. I
God!
hope you all have a good
Stop,
day.
That's not the
Santa.
point of this,
What?
Gay
Santa,
Santa.
we're literally talking. I'm just gonna ignore what he. I'm not gonna dignify that with a response. You literally just pivot and you don't like actually discuss anything, which is why it gets so frustrating with you. You're one of the few people I just get so like I lose my top because you don't you're not debating. You're just or discussing anything. You literally just pivot to something else. You're using words you don't know the meaning of. So how are we supposed to understand you? Like actually, genuinely.
I think I know what will help here. Nate, Steelman, Gay Santa's position.
I feel like I have though.
Just do it. Give him like the strongest argument you think he's ever made, like for this, like and see and just like go like from there with the reductios.
I don't even know how to do that because I feel like I just so much regret because I don't never get anywhere.
I actually have to go. Raw,
If you
thanks for
can
having me
tap,
up. I'll be
if you
around.
can tap the
You see how he
screen
just
and share the
runs? You see
live,
what I mean? He just runs every time.
I gotta take a walk, Nate. I'm a big guy. I need to. It's for my
Of
health.
course.
Peloton and talk to us at the same time. Just hop. Okay.
just to answer
He'd
Santa's
probably be
question,
huffing and puffing. He probably
it's
couldn't even talk.
twofold.
This is
It's
just to note about Gay Santa. This is not to speak down to him, but he gets overwhelmed and he just leaves. That's basically his thing. Like he can't take anybody like threatening his position. So he does it with his lives. Everybody knows this when he's live. He gets
well,
overwhelmed because
I think I
he leaves.
understand it to a certain degree, Nate. You know, I think certain individuals, like look, myself, I suffer from certain things, right? And so, I have to maintain certain boundaries within myself, and I think that that's what he's doing. He wants to stand firm with his belief. He wants to stay consistent in his position, but anytime he's really questioned, to the degree that we do, it gives him perhaps some anxiety and. Perhaps he doesn't want to expose himself to that much, and he just makes the choice ultimately to remove himself. And I'm okay with that because I don't want anybody to feel as though that they're a hostage here, and they have to go through something that is making them uncomfortable. But I think we're making really good points. I'll move on to someone else while I bring in someone from the
Why did
request.
Persia leave?
I have no
I
idea.
wanted to talk to Persia.
I heard Haley wants to come up if they're in the request, and they're not.
Haley said I was committing a fallacy. I don't know what fallacy she's talking about.
Exactly. I'd like to know that too.
Yeah, Haley, you're more than welcome to join. Just send up a request. I'll make some space once that happens. Tony, thanks for
I'm
joining.
genu-
Hey,
I'm
Night.
genuinely curious what she was talking about logically.
Where did we go in the wrong with woman equals adult human female? That's not to be even debated. That's as simple as it is. Undoubtedly, just saying the dictionary, the Cambridge source is not an official source. That's madness, you know.
And it's just a
Politically
What
driven.
contradiction.
is that?
It's just a contradiction
That's
overall.
literally what you should. That's literally what you should do. You should follow what the dictionary says. That's literally what the dictionary is for.
Wait, did you just say that the Cambridge source isn't an official source and then said you should follow dictionary?
Yeah.
No,
Wait.
no,
That's
I
just what he
said they
just
are
said.
both official
It's kind of a
sources.
contradiction.
They
Okay,
are
wait, I
both
think he means
official
like another,
sources.
I think he means like Oxford as like the real.
Can I ask,
No,
like, what's the
I don't
definition?
care.
I'm
I'm
genuinely not
saying you
well
cannot
versed on
say
the differences
Cambridge
in
is not a
dictionaries.
source.
I
Like,
never said that though. I never said it wasn't a source. I just said that that it's a fallacy to appeal to it and say that because it says it, therefore it's
it's
true.
not. It is not. Why?
Right. Well, Tony, I'll give you an example.
If
All
you
right.
understand
If
anything
you
about
looked up the definition of the word dog in the dictionary, and the definition said a dog is a dog, would that be an acceptable definition?
No.
Okay. So based on the definition that Santa provided, we can reject it because it's a circular definition.
and
It's
also
somebody,
contradictory.
right? Like
I
you
mean,
can't say a woman is a person who identifies as a woman. That doesn't tell me what a woman is. I
Or
know
a,
what a
that
woman
or
is.
a person who is male but identifies as female and then not know what a female is. You can't identify as the opposite sex. Like it's just not possible. I'm sorry. I don't know who has that problem, but you can't identify as the opposite sex. So
I'm looking up what. So Cambridge says an adult female human being. So there's no.
scroll down, you'll find another
Keep
one.
going. Keep going, Tony.
Oh my god.
They just be Cambridge is very. I'm pretty sure they're liberal
An
or left.
adult
So
What's up,
female
Luke?
human
just
Oh
added
yeah, they're
being
definitely
whether
politically
they have
driven.
been
added
said to
they
have a
added the
dick.
definition to pander to trans people, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, they fell for it. I just detected, but that's okay. That's cool. So there's no debate anymore.
Well, I mean, for at least not for you, because I guess you agree. But there's other people like I don't know if Haley's still in here, because Haley abuses the term denote in the definition of female, which I want to debate her on because I think
Right. They think because
everybody's abusing the term denote, and I don't think you understand what it means. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, you're fine. Yeah, exactly. Denote literally means a sign of, so it means your biological state. It has nothing to do with like they love to say, oh, I'm on hormones, so I grow breasts. Males have breasts. Like I'm not sure. Like
Right,
it.
and sex is just to clarify, sex is objective. It's we're talking about your inherent characteristics. That's what defines your
Yes.
sex, not your characteristics that you induce as a result of medical or surgical
Correct.
augmentation.
Correct
So
me.
that's why I'm saying they're abusing the term denote, because denoting is the reason. And just to be clear, if you look back at the history of the definitions, it used to just say of the sex that can. However, they added denote because they wanted to, include women who could, or sorry, females who could not produce large gametes. So if they did not produce large gametes, they would denote the sex that can, therefore they are female. That's literally what
Yes.
denoting
Yes.
is there. It's not for males who identify as women. That's not what it's for. It's literally to refer to females who do not produce said gametes or cannot give birth, right, or gestate. But they denote the sex. They're a sign of or are indicative of the sex that can.
Right,
So
like infertile women. It like it covers it's basically like, infertile women,
yeah,
etc.
just
All,
abusing
all
the word
variations
denoting.
of XX, right? Nate, at the end of the day, all variations of XX chromosome is what we can define as a female biologically.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say?
All
Correct.
variations of XX chromosomes.
Well, just to be clear, we don't define sex by chromosomes. It's like a common misconception. It's gametes that define sex. No. If you look at any definition, no definition of female says the sex with XX
Right.
chromosomes. It always references large and small gametes. That's the reason that sex is binary, by the way. The binary model of sex is not chromosomally based. It's based upon gametes. There's two gametes, large and small, which is why
Right,
Right, but
right. And
then
just
doesn't
because
that
you're intersex doesn't mean there's a third sex.
No,
There,
that's
it's
right.
still.
The only way it would constitute a third sex is if there was a third gamete, and there are only two because humans are anasagamous and we're gonochoric, which means we produce one gamete or the other, and we produce two types of gametes, dissimilar types of gametes, large and small.
But are there
So
DSDs where you don't produce a gamete,
they
but
are. So we define sex by the gamete type that you produce or the gamete type that your body is primarily organized around the production of. Nobody, and people keep making this argument. Cog tried to do it and I proved him wrong. Human beings are gonochoric and anasagamous. We do not produce both gametes, right? There are rare cases where a person can have a mixture of ovarian and testicular tissue, but do not produce both sperm and ova. It's not possible because our gonads develop mutually antagonistically. So our bodies do not allow both reproductive structures to develop fully and functionally.
Always a dominant pathway.
Yeah, right. So persons with like over-testicular disorder, which is what people often talk about, which is ironic because it's one of the rarest, by the way. I've said this before. There are only 500 people out of 8 billion people with this condition. With over-testicular disorder, where they're born with typically both genitals or both testicular and ovarian tissue, only 500. If anybody wants to look at the percentile, 500 to 8 billion, I don't know if anybody wants to do that, you'll see how rare it is. And all of these persons are either male or female. They just simply have disorders of sexual development. It's really not that hard. I hate people trying to tokenize intersex people for the sake of trans people, because they're not the same thing. It's embarrassing, to be honest.
So like we're gonna
I
change
hate
all
that
of
as well.
society for this.
It's sick. Like it's involved in
Non-binary
an
is not a thing.
ideology.
Then.
Sorry, if
It seems to,
for a while, so
nope.
Go ahead, Amanda.
I was going to say it seems to be something that I've been hearing so common. Like it's not something I ever really heard about before. Like I knew about it, but it wasn't a common thing. And it seems to be that everybody and their brother all of a sudden is intersex. And I continuously am hearing this from everybody. Every trans live that I go into, they all say the same thing. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like to use that and to use something that somebody is actually dealing with to, I don't know. It's the same thing as saying that women that can't have babies, that like using all these medical things to validate yourself is completely wrong, and it's an attack, and I just can't accept it.
The
But what I wanted to,
likelihood that there are so many intersex people on the planet
oh
versus the vast amount of pathological liars, I would more believe the pathological
Yeah,
liar.
and
that was
most of
facts right
these
there.
intersex people apparently are dating each other. Most of them, like if you look at them, like one of them is intersex and they have this disorder, and then the other one has that disorder. Like what's her name? Demi said that he
You can
has
see that in trans people too. With all
mosaicism. What?
due respect, like trans people all also have the same thing. Like one has a little bit of something when they have kids. It's a coincidence.
What?
They're sometimes non-binary.
I'm confused. All right, somebody else
Okay.
take that because I can't. I'm
Yeah,
not
they are confused because you're teaching them things since they're little kids. And you
teaching.
shouldn't.
What, sir?
Dude, you are so off topic.
I'm
But no,
answering the
what my
question from the
favorite.
screen.
Who is teaching stuff to little children? I didn't say
We're not
anything.
talking about that right now.
Yeah, we're not on that topic, dude. But my as far as what you're talking about like the off the wall things, like my favorite has to be, oh, you're infertile. Yeah, you're not a woman.
Oh my God.
I didn't say
Or
who
that.
said that. Who
Like,
said
But what I
that?
wanted to, what I
Tony, we're
wanted
not
to say
talking about you.
is
Ah,
that
okay.
language is really important, and this is the thing that people aren't understanding. I don't know. I'm sure some of you heard about what happened in Canada with the little girl in the change room and the man that said, "Well, how do you know I don't identify as a woman with a beard?" So
Yep.
Was that the
that
Planet
aquatic,
Fitness?
no,
No,
this
that
is
was
in
something
Canada.
else.
Well, anyways, this aquatic center is now doubling down, and they have said that that little girl, that man had every right to be in that space. That they had no
So
right to say no, that he couldn't be there, because again, bathrooms are now open, free range to
they're
anybody that
unisex.
wants to
They're
identify.
basically unisex. They're
100%.
no longer separated by sex.
Guys, hang
And
tight
I
a second. Tony, I'm going to thank you very much for joining. I have another guest in the panel, but I do want to thank you for joining. Please feel free to stick around, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
and so I mean, really, why do we even have change rooms? We might as well just leave an open area. Like it doesn't even, it makes no sense to me that this is what we're going to say that is okay. It's not okay, and it won't be okay.
Right,
Hey,
right. And more more about the intersex. I see a lot of intersex, or quote unquote intersex trans people on here. Especially like Queen Jasmine. She claims, or they claim that they are intersex, yet they have a comb over, and it's crazy. I'm sorry.
I think that the reasons a lot of these people are claiming these conditions is because they have a misconception. They think they're special in some way, like they think they're like outside the binary of sex. Because somebody said to me that they think intersex means being neither male or female. I said no, that's not what that means. So I think that it seems to be this want to be special, but quite frankly, just a male or a female with a disorder of sexual development.
Exactly.
And I would trust and I would give more validation to somebody that's just really honest with themselves rather than somebody that's literally trying to make up a lie to become something that they're not.
Right.
Like that's
Basically appropriating a medical condition.
and
Just like
yeah.
non-binary people with trans and gender dysphoria. I think that's pretty sick too.
And again, it's like when we talk about these people, we do know, like when we recently that whole fucking stage thing, like we do know that there are people that are harmful that are claiming these terms just because they know that they can, right? So where do we put boundaries? Where do we say that okay, enough is enough? Where do we say, okay, no, you don't, like in Canada, you don't have to have gender dysphoria. You can be a blue collar guy with a full beard and everything and say I'm a woman, and that's all that you need to do. And like that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I think all of us here are against self ID. Like it's like very harmful.
100%.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So Nati,
So,
if you want to say
what are
something.
your thoughts on trans women on this app who are saying they're actually female?
Yeah. Like I think that's
No.
just crazy.
I've literally listened to a man say that.
Wait. Define how are they defining actually female? That's the first question.
So there's a set of them that go via the path of neurology. They claim that they're neurologically female. Like they have a lady brain, essentially.
Which
They
doesn't
didn't get born with a uterus.
Yeah,
What?
the hypothalamus lady, are the man.
Atlantic, Pacific, that whole lot.
Yeah, but Nate,
I
what
think
I never understood about that, Nate, was like, what if somebody has that same brain but they're not trans?
Well, apparently, and don't quote me on this, but apparently they noticed apparently these very similar structures in gay men as well. But I don't see people claiming gay men are women. So
it makes no sense.
Listen, if you guys want to go ahead and look this up, there's something called neurosexism. This is literally what they're proposing. It's just like there's the same. I don't know if you guys remember, if anybody remembers this, back in the day when they used to say that men were more intelligent than women because their brains were 10% larger. Does anybody remember when they used to say shit like that?
Yeah.
Right. That's classic neurosexism.
It's like a pseudoscience, basically.
Yeah, it's literally pseudoscientific, and they're just so there are like differences in like average differences between males and females in terms of their brain structures, but their claim is that those structures are what are causing people to have a gender identity, which is one, not conclusive nor supported. It's just a theory and a hypothesis that has been proposed, right? But it's on the basis of neurosexism, which is basically we're saying that trans women are women are like innately, like they have this lady brain that makes them innately female, and vice versa for men. It's just sexist. It's literally just sexism.
When we say that the hypothalamus is sexually dimorphic, all right, can you explain what that means? Like my interpretation of it is the way that the hypothalamus or a portion of the hypothalamus reacts to the hormone level that you produce.
It's not hormones. It's a particular structure called the BSTC and the BNST. The BSTC is the central subdivision of the bed nucleus of the striatum terminalis, and the BNST is the bed nucleus of the striatum terminalis. And it's twice as larger in men than it is women, basically. And that difference arises during puberty at around age 14, like it becomes dimorphic at around that age and extends into adulthood. Right, so they're claiming that they've done studies, post-mortem studies, like on dead people, and concluded that the structures of the BSTC in trans women is not identical but similar or closer to in size to that of women, and they're now using that. Well, there are people on not the studies themselves; these are just people, misrepresenting it at this point. The people like Atlantic claim that, that's causative to gender identity, and claim that she is now neurologically female, Which is actually very odd to me because, like I said, the brain studies are done post-mortem. So in order for us to say that Atlantic would have to die and we would have to basically cut open his
But I
brain
think that
and do an
poses a
incision.
scientific problem too, because there are certain things that happen to the anatomy when you die. And depending on when you do decide to do the research on the cadaver, there could be many elements that affect that. So wouldn't it be more accurate to find a means to evaluate that in a live
Yeah,
specimen?
but you can't do that for the BSTC because it's literally the bed nucleus. It's like literally the center of the nuclei. If you did that to a person while they're alive, they would die. You would kill them or cause irreparable brain damage, which is why we don't do it when the person's alive.
Sorry, Natty, I saw you come back in. Did you want to chime in?
Yeah.
And thank you for requesting again.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. Hey, I wanted to respond. There was a young lady who said, like, where do we draw the line? There was aquatic, like there was a, perceived man. I do agree that there's like weirdos, like, I don't know if we can say it, like the CD people, the cross,
Yeah.
Sounds censored.
the cross dressers, those are cisgender men. And there's some weirdos that are, I don't know, using us as a, you know.
This person wasn't even a cross-dresser. This was actually just a man, and he literally
Okay.
said,
Yeah, Natty, there are trans women, there are actual trans identified males that are doing this, and they are on hormones, they're medically transitioning, and they're AGPs, and they're violent, and they're
Oh, yeah,
dangerous.
that's a big issue. Yeah, I agree.
so,
Um,
and this is what I want to say about it, is that this is the problem that I have with it, is that when we are not putting boundaries and we're not saying, okay, this is a boundary, we are allowing anybody into those spaces, and the thing is that it becomes unsafe. For instance, when we talk about Sage, and I don't know if you know who that is, but this person
mhm.
is not a safe person to be allowing into women's spaces, but yet he's taking hormones, he's claiming womanhood, he's claiming all of these things, yet this man is actually grooming little girls. And
Oh
as
my
well,
gosh.
so
Don't
it's
tell
a
me that.
problem,
Oh.
and this is why we have to exclude all so that we can continue to keep women and children safe, right?
Well, okay, thank you
And
for.
it's unfortunate, but it's just the fact, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that people have to feel in this way, but like, what else do we do? Do we just wait until a bunch of girls or women are hurt and then we say,
Right.
okay, well, I guess that's enough?
Well, thank you for. Well, shit. That's really. Okay, thank you for letting me know about that. And I
Like,
agree.
he's got videos even like where he's literally rubbing himself in his videos.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah. But
I
Natty, I think you had you started off with a good question, like where's the middle ground? And I'll say this. I don't know where the middle ground is, but I think a step in the right direction is to have members in the trans community align with us in trying to identify and trying to eradicate the AGPs and the people who are putting trans face on, and helping us point those individuals out so that we can report
Yes.
those people to the authorities, right?
Yeah.
Because it shows, like, to a certain degree, that you are also willing to help point out the bad apples so that we're not discriminating against an entire community.
No, well, duh. Like, I'm not an awful person. Yeah, like the AGP and fucking, the cross dressers, people that are doing this for, what do you call that? What do you call those? Trans there's a bunch of like
Trans maxers,
Transmaxers.
trans transers.
weirdos, right? And I'm not going to deny those people exist because,
We do.
I see it. I saw like this perceived man, I don't know, like wearing pantyhose at Planet Fitness shake. What the hell are you doing wearing pantyhose? Like,
Now, there was one demographic of
legit.
individuals that I didn't include in that solution, and because I think that it requires a different type of approach. So the individuals who are in society who are extremely confused about their identity, perhaps individuals like yourself and Courtney and Coco, could provide more education on, what trans actually means, what
You're
that
on the right
journey
track,
looks like.
I
You
commend you
know,
because you're definitely on the right track for, um, you know, I, I know I say sometimes like, these MAGA people, obviously not all of them, but these Christians, I generalize and I'm sorry, but like they think that those cross dressers and AGP are us, And I commend all of you for noticing the very clear difference. These are perverts or they're maxers, those people.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, can I point out something to you, Natty? So I think the reason that a lot of people think that they're actual trans women is because of, and I know you don't support it, but because of self ID culture, because that's the part of the community that is the loudest right now, making the most noise. Transsexuals are not making a lot of noise. It's self ideas, the NBs, the what transmaxes and so on. So that is what people are seeing as the community, right? I don't believe we should generalize, but it's natural human nature to say, "Oh, I'm noticing a trend," and the trend that we're noticing is the self ID people running all over the place, telling people that they're trans men and trans women simply by claiming to be one, which is why pedos and P3dos rather and pervs are taking advantage of this. So I think that we have to dismantle self ID culture in order to
Yes,
get over that.
I was talking to some idiots, like, I don't know, a couple hours ago, and which included Demi, who's that,
Yeah.
and saying, no, you don't need gender dysphoria to be trans. And I was literally screaming at that idiot. Like,
Well, and oh,
okay,
sorry.
I mean, it's a medical requirement, but it's not required. And also, I want a clear distinction because non-binaries saying that they're trans, which they are not, there needs to be a clear distinction from transsexual.
I don't even know what the fuck non-binary is.
Yeah, don't ask me. It's a social construct. There needs
But
to
just to add on top of
it's
what
also a
Nate is
construct.
saying is
Social construct means you made it up, by the
I
way.
don't know how non-binary individuals can gain access to cross-sex hormones when they don't identify with either of the sex. So I don't understand what the clinical implication is
They're
in
brainwashed.
to try and resolve what exactly. Why are non-binary people accessing gender-affirming care? It's
Well, what
contradictory.
I've noticed is when you ask somebody, like, what are you? Right? Are you a man? What are you? And they say, I'm non binary. They're not telling me what they are. They're telling me what they're not.
Precisely.
So they're actually not even answering my question.
Yeah. Like it's like saying, are you black or are you white? I'm non, like, if you want, like, you get a binary system, she's black and white, and be like, I'm non-binary. Like, okay,
Raw and
I don't know
Nate
what you are though.
and Duchess even, even though I don't really like you, but I'm talking
Oh.
to you. I mean, well, I don't know.
Really?
I mean, personally, a little
I
bit,
don't
but
know you. Okay.
I've talked to you the past like 3 times. Anyway, I'm moving on. I'm trying to be more
Oh,
mature.
sorry, you're not memorable in my mind. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so anyway,
And I just wanted to say that the words are important. The reason the language is important as well is because I've literally heard men, two separate men last week, literally one of them said that woman is just a social construct, and the other one said we're called fertile females now. And that is literally the most
We're called
dehumanizing thing I've
what?
ever heard. Fertile
incubators.
females.
They're calling you
Fertile
incubators.
females.
Everyone keeps telling me you're trying to say it again. Sorry.
Fertile females, but that also denotes to any female living thing that gives birth or has babies. Like that's what that says. So
I
that's
mean, hang
dehumanizing.
on. With that being said, I'm infertile and getting a hysterectomy next Wednesday. What does that make me in their world?
Well, and this is my point, right? Like this
Man, I
is what I'm
guess.
saying. They're dehumanizing women now,
Yeah.
and the fact that we
Apparently,
have to argue about this is just
yeah.
weird.
Apparently, you and Adora are the same. So both you and
Ex
Adora are
what?
infertile. No, hold on, hold on.
Congratulations.
We've heard. Hold on. Christy's here. Christy said that. I heard Adora say it.
Congratulations.
Adora said that he's a, and I have to say he because I just don't understand Adora. Adora just like not trying to quote unquote pass and fit and all that. So I'm gonna call him he. Adora said that he is a woman born without, like, an infertile woman. Like,
Uterus.
he's the same as a woman born with MRKA syndrome, basically.
Okay, because I'm just going to let you know when you first said that, those are fighting words.
No, I'm serious.
Those
Like,
are,
Adora has compared himself to women who are infertile. He calls himself an infertile woman. So I'm like, but
Yep.
you're male. So to be honest, like, you're not
someone
like.
give me 3 reasons not to go in Adora's live right now and blast them.
I'm never going to give you a reason to not do that.
Too many people. Sorry. Somebody was speaking. I'm sorry if I interrupted them. I don't know if it was
Nate,
music.
I want a clear distinction from from AGPs, perverts, crossdressers, transvestites, which are all they're cis men, right? And I want to include non-binary in that because they definitely aren't transgender because you know how rare that is. Like I don't know if you acknowledge the legitimacy of trans people existing.
I
I
do.
okay, it
Yeah, you've
confuses me.
got men, women, trans men.
Oh, okay, okay. So, cool, I guess. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
we're
that's
still
how I
women.
see it as well.
We're still
Okay,
women, though.
I think I should just state my position. I think any trans woman that claims a female experience is disgusting. It's immoral, and yeah, basically
I
what
wouldn't
I'm
say it's
saying.
more. I think it's just like wrong, and some it can be considered offensive. Like I don't understand why, and this is where I feel like we're being gaslit as well. We're literally being told that we've been literally being told in the last like what 20 years or so that gender and sex are different, but then now we have trans women claiming to be like a sex, the sex female. So it's like I thought gender was the social thing and sex was the biological that you
Right?
can't
Like, you're
change.
literally, when you say
Right.
trans woman, you're literally calling us women when you call us trans women. So we are in fact
No, that's not.
Well, not
I
no, we
don't.
are women.
I
not
don't do that.
We are
not
women.
necessarily though, because to be honest, like simply because the word woman is in it doesn't like necessitate that it now is like a woman.
Adjective, noun.
There was a
But there,
different word
wait, there's a
that
reason
says
there's
that
that
because
prefix
it's
there.
feelings. Oh, go
Adjective,
ahead, Courtney.
I'm
noun.
sorry, sweetie. There's a reason there's a prefix there, and that has to be
Adjective,
included
noun.
Okay,
because
so
it means
hold on.
opposite
So
side of.
right, so yeah, so the
Adjective,
adjective. Hold on. What is the
noun.
adjective? Okay, now so we get it. What does the
What the
prefix transgender mean?
Are you asking Natty or me?
Yeah,
She said,
nothing.
she said Natty. Natty. What am I saying my name? I'm sorry. A transgender is an individual whose gender identity doesn't match their biological sex at birth.
Okay, sure. So the identity of so the sex is male and the identity is woman, right?
Well, you wouldn't call it woman, you know, because that's, you
No,
know, not.
is woman what they're identifying as? Is that what they're identifying as? He said that the gender identity is woman, and the reason we have trans is to specify the sex. Trans woman, right? I'm just
I
clarifying.
think Tim, the trans-identified male, is the best
No, but I can
explanation.
prove how trans woman doesn't really like prove that. It's literally like contradicting itself. The word itself is somewhat like a misnomer.
It
So
means
like
opposite of, so it's
but it
opposite
mean
of
yeah,
woman.
you're literally saying that your identity is like it's opposite to
Yeah.
male,
Okay,
but
I'm
you're
glad
a
you said
woman.
that.
So
You know, I'm really glad you said the opposite of. So you're in the brain. There's a gland. It's female, and it's the opposite, male. The primary sex
I don't
gender.
believe in the gland theory. I don't
So,
believe
but
in
the
the gland.
gland,
well,
hold
it
on, what is the
exists.
gland?
So
What's the
stay
name of the
mad.
hold on, what
It's
is the
called
name
the
of the
human. It's called the right. You asked me that twice. It's called the human hypothalamus. It works in conjunction with the
even
pituitary.
hypothalamus? So but hold on a
Can you
second.
not talk
So
like that?
hold on, but it's fine. The problem is sorry, I shouldn't have said that, Duchess. Sorry if you don't want him to talk like that. I'm sorry. That's just
No,
not like the vocal fry just kind
it's
of gets
just
annoying sometimes, yeah.
yeah.
But Nati, do you understand that none of these like hypothalamic like theories are like conclusive, right? So people like Atlantic running all over the app stating it as fact is just disingenuous, and I've
Is it
explained it to her a
Atlantic
million
or is
times.
it the National Institute of Health, the National Library
The
of
National
Medicine?
Institute of Health does not conclude this. They say that what we've observed is that there are sex differences in males and females on average, right? And trans people, right, appear to have, right, brain structures that are sexually aligned with the quote unquote gender or sex that they identify with. This doesn't now mean, one second, this doesn't now mean that these structures cause gender identity one. It does not mean that there is now a brain sex or gendered brain. We've established through years and years of research that the brains are not gendered. Brain sex does not exist, right? We're going straight back to neurosexism to validate trans people, right? And I've also explained the timeline issue with that as well, right? A lot of these people are claiming to be trans. Or when did you notice you were trans, Nancy?
It's 4.5.
Okay, so then this doesn't match your hypothalamus claim, because the claim for the hypothalamus is that it is sexually dimorphic, and the sexual dimorphism is what causes your gender identity to align with female, correct?
Okay, I don't know how to read. I don't know what you're.
No, hold
you're
on. Sexual
okay.
dimorphism. Okay, I'll dumb it down. Sexual dimorphism equal differences dichotomously between males and females, right? So that's what dimorphism is. Now, do you know when the human hypothalamus, in terms of the BSTC, do you know when the sexual dimorphism occurs?
Really big words, and I don't get it.
Nati, please just be genuine with me, please. I'm just trying to understand you here, please. When does the BSTC sexual dimorphism take place?
Okay, I'm not a
Natty, I thought you went to college.
I'm not a
Yeah, okay, I'll just tell
neuroscientist.
you. So the BSTC does not become sexually dimorphic until around puberty. And the extension of the dimorphism does not establish itself until closer to adulthood, right? So you could not have had, you didn't have a sexually dimorphic BSTC at 4.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Right. So then do you understand why? Do
Okay.
you see the mismatch here? You're saying your gender identity is contingent upon sexual dimorphism.
23.
That wasn't even, hold on, Nancy. That wasn't even present
23.
when you were 4.
I don't know the answer. It's yes,
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, because you're wrong.
Yeah,
Wait,
there's a
what?
timeline. There's a timeline mismatch, which is why I'm saying to
Can you
you,
give me a
all
hint?
of these. Hold
I
on.
love you, Natty, but
all-
you're just wrong. You're wrong,
yeah,
sweetie.
all
Can
of
you
these.
can
All of
I have a
these.
hint?
Nancy, please just be genuine, because you're doing like being really genuine, and like you
Can
weren't
I
being
phone a
like.
friend actually? Because
If you want
Natty,
to,
can you stop?
it's so
if you
hard.
want to bring, if you want to be like Haley up or somebody, you can. But I feel like you're just not
So
being genuine
hard.
at this point.
If you mute just a second, we can all hear what logically is saying.
Yeah, I'm just explaining to you why your position is like
You can mute
it's
for a
flawed, and I've explained it
second.
to Atlantic,
Okay.
but Atlantic still wants to hold the same position. So you guys are just like being like intentionally like dishonest, like intellectually dishonest. Not and you can bring Atlantic in here if you want.
What
Can I
does
get one study that comes to a conclusion as far as gender identity is concerned? Because
what's
I
my
hope you know that in each and every one of the studies, they make it abundantly clear that it is preliminary data, that is correlative, not causative, nor is there an established
what is
conclusion.
my preliminary data?
What was that?
What is my preliminary data?
Your preliminary data was regarding the hypothalamus.
Hey, Natty, I have a question. Doesn't the like diagnosis of gender dysphoria kind of conflate with
Conflict.
hypothalamus theory?
You used a really big word.
Because people
Wait,
say that.
back up. There was a word I didn't get. You used a really big word. What is conflict?
Okay, can we just like get rid of Natty now? Because now it's getting ridiculous now. Natty, you're not being honest.
Yeah,
You're not being honest.
wait, Nate, did you understand what I was saying?
Yeah, I understand what you meant. Conflate
Okay.
just means to confuse two things or more things.
Yeah,
at the
because
same
I was just asking her what's like her stance on because she also believes in gender dysphoria. That's obviously a proven medical diagnosis, but there is no proof regarding the hypothalamus. So like, how do those two interact, the gender dysphoria and the hypothalamus?
It is called the sexual dimorphism of the human hypothalamus.
Okay, so Natty, when does that typically occur in humans?
Yeah, I gave the age already. Natty doesn't know. I said
During the second.
14.
During the
14.
Sorry.
During the
Yes.
sec. I'm sorry. There was idiots like interrupting me. Okay, so I'm really smart. Okay, and I know a lot.
And I'm the Queen of England, Natty.
Right. So it's during the second half.
Why are you
Hello,
talking like
Natty.
that?
Can
Like
you
it's really
speak normal?
creepy.
I think she's just being
You talked about
disingenuous,
perverts
y'all.
earlier, and
I
you're
think she does.
talking like this.
She knows that she's like at a stop. Like she knows she's like a deer in headlights right now. So she's like
No, but like
doesn't know how to.
I made a video the other day, okay, and this is the thing about debates. It's important to acknowledge when we don't have a response to something, and it's equally important for us to step back from the debate, think about and reflect about what was being presented, and then sharpen the argument and come back to the debate, right? So I want to give so Maddie, yeah, I'm going to give you ample amount of time to respond, and I just request that no one interrupt in this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So I gave my response 3 times. You might not have heard me because there were irrelevant people talking while I was answering your question.
You're good, Natty. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you asked me a question. When does the sexual dimorphism happen typically? So the answer is, and you can't really hear me because my voice is really soft and girly. So hold on, let me get close to the mic.
You're good.
There was the 2 men below me were interrupting me. Okay, so it's during the second
I know you're not coming for me when you
Stop,
you
stop.
literally
Courtney,
Oh,
stop,
are
stop,
an
wow.
stop, stop,
AGP.
stop, stop.
See, the testosterone, you can't help it, sir. Sir, I was speaking. So it happens during the second half of pregnancy.
That's incorrect.
It's not, though.
Okay,
So real quick, Courtney,
Is
you know
gender
you're not a
dysphoria
man.
and the
It
hypothalamus
doesn't
theory
matter.
related, Mr.
Natty the
Natty?
So
baddie has an
hold on. I just want
issue
to
with.
understand Maddie's argument.
All
One
right,
second, Duchess. So
no
are you
worries.
saying it's like via hormonal wash?
Yes.
Okay, can I just
Okay.
address it before anybody else goes?
You
The
may.
hormone
Yeah.
wash theory has been thoroughly disproven, as we've established. All of the models done for this were done on rodents. Now, if you go back to the study, if you go back to the original study that proposed this by Dick Swab, it was retracted because the chief editor of Neuroscience said that the comparisons drawn between animals and humans was an unsupportable.
Why are you making shit up?
Unsupport.
Why
Can
are
you
you
stop
making
interrupting me? Because
Why are
you
you
were
making
allowed to
shit up?
finish speaking.
You're making shit up. Oh, I'm
Okay, right. So like I said before, these were done on rodent models, right? Could you please tell us the method that was used to analyze the hormonal levels of the fetus in intrauterine development? If you can't answer, I'm going to respectfully, with permission from the host, just remove you, because at this point you're just trolling us and you're not actually debating, which is why nobody can take. Like, I agree
And
with you.
Natty, I've been respectful of you this whole time. I've used
Excuse me,
your
sir.
desired
Sir,
pronouns, and
Courtney,
the way that you're
you were not
attacking me,
being
it's
called a man.
disgusting.
I was being called a
Sir,
man.
I was
It's
speaking,
fine.
sir, I was speaking to,
Oh, I guess now you're being called a
sir,
man.
sir, I was talking to logically, sir, the testosterone in
Can you,
you,
oh
No,
my God.
sir, I
the
think you need to go shave your
testosterone in
face,
you.
sir.
I don't shave my face.
Yes, you do. You
Guys,
have
guys, I
Did you get
understand.
it laser hair removal?
Yeah, it's laser. So I was responding to logically, and then the two men below me interrupted again. So
Okay,
logically,
can you just thank you, thanks. Just respond.
I've been trying to. Okay,
Yeah,
so
totally. Yeah.
I've been,
Natty,
yeah,
look,
yeah,
I appreciate you
Natty,
coming
you need
out
to get
here.
dropped.
yeah.
I'm
So
giving you a
You're
lot of rope,
trying
all
to
right? Because
respond.
I
yeah,
want you to,
yeah.
I just want you to engage. I understand that perhaps you don't like Courtney, Duchess, or Logically. That's fine. You don't have to like anybody on this
Entirely.
panel.
Yeah, I don't know this person.
But
I'm
don't
just,
like
but
We
I even
literally,
went to the
I don't like
all
them
he
profile. I
did
have
was
no
wait.
yeah, that's
idea.
He
fine.
I don't like
doesn't
them
have good
interrupting.
answers
I
for
don't
the
like
But I
them
just
questions
want to
he
say
interrupting.
this.
I don't
provides.
I
like them
just want to say
interrupting.
this. It's not a personal thing. Like this live is not about taking personal attacks. It's just about attacking the idea, right?
Yeah.
Right,
I'd love to
and
just.
he couldn't do that
I
because he
was
doesn't have good
attempting to
answers for the
answer.
good
I
for
was
the
attempting to
questions.
Okay,
answer. I was
okay.
attempting to answer. That was continually interrupted.
Okay,
I
No, you
just feel
weren't,
like
and
I
stop
just
fucking
feel like one
whispering
answer.
like
second.
that.
I'm
Just,
not
I just one
answering
second, guys.
because
One
I'm not
second.
able
I
to.
just feel like the platform is kind of being mocked because of the way that you're choosing to
And
express yourself,
irreal.
which
Well,
I feel as though is being directed towards some other individuals that are on the panel. Natty, I don't know you. I want to show you respect. All right. So if you just want to address me directly, I'm more than happy to have a
yeah.
conversation with you. I just don't want to feel like the platform itself is being disrespected.
Wait,
Is that
raw real. I've been nothing but respectful to her. I've used
haven't.
her
You
pronouns the
haven't
entire
though.
time, and
You
then as
haven't
soon as
though.
I asked a question he didn't
You
like,
haven't
I got
though.
I got misgendered, I got called a man, all this stuff. So
What
clearly,
was
I
respect?
you
mean,
have
Ma-
some
What was
problems.
Natty's passing just with a D.
Nothing about what you said to me was respectful.
Okay, whatever. I don't care. I was using your pronouns just like you like. Now I'm gonna call you he for the rest of this live.
Thank you. I'm such a man.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you just answer the question? Because
I've been
like
trying to. I've
you're
been trying
literally
Yeah,
to.
we.
I've been
Natty.
trying
Natty,
to. I've
hold
been
on
I'm
though.
trying
ready
to.
to
I've
hear
been
it,
trying
Natty.
to.
Let's
Natty,
go.
just
I've
let's
been
just
trying
yeah?
to. I've been
Let's
trying
all
Natty
give
with
to.
the
I've been
Natty.
D.
trying to. I've been trying
okay, hold
to.
on. Natty, do you remember the question? What was the question that
Yes.
was asked?
So
What was the question?
yeah, this 6 minute delay could have been, prevented from these two idiots below me.
Sorry,
So,
can you just repeat the question?
He just keeps insulting. He just
right. I'm
resorts
trying
to
to
ad
answer the question.
hominem.
I'm trying to
Courtney,
answer the
I
question. I'm
get
trying to
it.
answer the question. I'm trying to answer the question. I'm trying to answer
And
the question.
listen, they're gonna say it. Let them.
Just
Let them have the
nobody
floor.
like respectfully understand the frustration. But if you say
Can we
anything,
just drop him at this point? Like he doesn't have any argument.
I'm ready.
He's a
I'm
deer
ready
in
to.
headlights.
Can I answer the
I'm
Yeah,
question?
ready to go.
I just want to hear I just want to hear Natty respond,
Yeah.
and
So
then
Natty,
we'll
just
carry
tell us
on.
what the
So
question
Natty,
was.
you got the floor. You got the floor.
Thank you.
What was the
Right.
question that was asked, and then you can answer.
Um,
Just want to make sure you're answering the question that I asked.
Yes, mute them. Yes, please, if they interrupt me again. So to answer your question, Nate, I don't know the method of testing because I didn't read that part.
So how did you come to the conclusion that's a hormonal wash?
was present at
It's
12 weeks of pregnancy.
That's what it says.
Yeah, that's what it says, but how do we support that claim? That's just a claim. I need supporting like a methodology. Every study has a methodology.
I didn't look up how it how they concluded it. I just looked up the
No, no,
article.
no. Stop. The burden of proof is on you, not me. You made the claim, not me.
I thought I was doing that. So I looked at the sexual dimorphism of the human hypothalamus.
Right.
I didn't see what you were mentioning about like animals. I didn't see because I don't think it was there.
I said that the hormonal wash models originally done from the study that I read were done on animal models. Now, if we're doing testing on fetuses, human fetuses, right, or just fetuses, sorry.
Show
Can you
you.
just tell us what the methodology would? How did we test hormonal levels?
It wasn't there.
At 12 weeks of pregnancy.
It wasn't there in the article that I read. So
Okay, hold on, but then that's a problem. The article is making a claim that it can't support. It doesn't. The article doesn't even state what the methodology was. Every study has a methodology. So I would suggest maybe not just reading the title or the conclusion, maybe read the methodology, because methodologies can be flawed and result in flawed conclusion.
I have no
You
idea.
have to know the scientific method. So let us probably read that, Pookie, and then
No idea what you just said, but
the
yes,
conclusion.
I agree.
Oh, I know you're not very smart. I understand, but
I strongly agree. Yes.
This is, and I understand you being like sarcastic and coy and all that, but to be honest, this is why like we can't. Can I finish speaking, please, Pookie? Thank you.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
The problem is that you're literally just like not debating. You're just like yapping at this point, which is why nobody takes you seriously. I tried to for like maybe 20 minutes. But then you display this kind of behavior, and then nobody can get through to you, and you don't
Why
really
don't
have
you
a
like me?
presentation for your
Why
claim.
don't you like me?
So I'll just ask for the final time. What is your evidence for it? Because you claim you have a lady brain. I just want to know what the lady brain is.
Okay. Scientifically, I wouldn't call it a lady brain. So
okay, a female brain.
Okay. Thank you. It's like you took the words right out of my mouth, Nate. We can
totally.
It's like we can finish each other's
Exactly.
sandwiches.
Oh my god, it's so quirky.
We're
Totally.
friends. We're friends. Okay.
The
So
frequency
I
is
wouldn't call
strong here, folks. The frequency is strong.
For fuck's sake, man! Like Jesus, like just so.
call it a lady brain, but I would.
Yeah. Are you gonna answer the question?
I will.
Are you gonna answer?
Yes, happily.
Yeah. So answer the question.
Very glad to. So, the female brain, if it's not masculinized by a hormone called androgen, then it stays a female brain.
Androgen? No, hold on. Androgen is not the hormone itself. There are types of.
Was it testosterone? Oh, I got the wrong answer. I put the wrong answer, but I'm changing it. Okay, testosterone.
Okay, so where is the methodology that we came to this conclusion by? How did we conclude that the fetal brain was masculinized by testosterone?
I don't know what you said, but I just gave my answer.
No, hold on. You gave the answer. You made a claim. I'm asking for asking for support.
What do you want from me?
I'm telling you, honey.
Why are you being mean to me?
I'm asking you for support of the claim.
You're being mean.
Oh dear, what a tragedy. Asking somebody a question about a claim they made. How mean of me.
Say it. Okay. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Okay, RawReal, can we just stop now? Because we're just marking a platform at this point. It's not constructive and just annoying everybody and not actually engaging. We can probably get better up at somebody else.
Now, Maddie, I do appreciate you jumping on. If you want to share the live with anybody else, please feel free to do so, and please come back in the future lives again.
No, don't. Respectfully to the host. Don't come back.
My God, what a fucking mess. Like, what?
Thank you
That's
for
painful.
joining. What are your thoughts
I'm
this
sorry that I
evening?
took you guys through that with my own vocal fry, but I'm really Nazi. I don't take Nazis. I don't even go into the Nazis debate platforms because they'll just keep saying, "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me." Oh, sorry, I should be more accurate.
Excuse me. You got. I have a lady brain. I'm female, and I got a lady brain. So, totally female. Absolutely, totally female.
Deputy Dog, thank you so much for joining. How you doing this evening?
Hey, thank you for having me up here. I'm doing good. The only thing that I wanted to say is that, and this is no disrespect to anybody, male or female. This is no disrespect at all. But my thoughts are, just very straightforward. You know, we can go through all the word play, the semantics on intelligent speaking, non-intelligent speaking, borderline intelligent speaking. We can do all this all day. But at the end of the day, for whatever reason, a man would never be a physical woman, and a woman will never ever be a man. So I understand that everybody's saying that this is all psychological and I'm misgendering them and I'm homophobic, and I'm not phobic to anything. You know, I understand, I listen to reason, and I listen to the logic of life. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to all these non-gender binary. I'm not used to all that. And I'm trying to learn the concept of all this stuff. But at the end of the day, a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful how they think that they feel. You know, the XY, the YX, or whatever the case may be. But if a man was really able to be a woman, I surf through TikTok a lot. Why are they still trying to convince everybody on TikTok that they're a woman? I don't see biological women trying to justify who they are because they know they're a woman. I don't see men as myself trying to justify that I'm a man. So if justifying who you really are, and you already know that you're a man, but you're a woman, if you really, really know this, why do you have to convince the people on TikTok? Why do you got to convince the world? A legitimate man and a legitimate woman don't have to convince anybody because we already know. So by trying to convince me what you are, and if I don't agree with what you are, now you want to call me homophobic, you want to call me all this. I'm not saying that what they believe is real or fake. I'm not saying that because I'm not them, so I don't know. I'm just looking at the real logic of what is a man and what is a woman, and I'm not trying to convince the world that I'm a man. I don't need to.
Hey, Raw,
And
thank you for having me. I will say before I leave a little, oh, Christy, the Queen Divine Supreme Goddess herself.
Yeah. Duchess, I'm about to wrap things up, so I'm going to give
Oh,
everybody
okay.
like a cool
Can I do
minute.
a little spiel before I go?
Oh
Can I
yeah,
do my
that's
whole
that's my
exit
thing.
thing?
That's what I do. It's what I do,
Good,
Duchess.
yes.
So everybody, I just want to first and foremost thank everybody who participated on the panel, everybody in the comments, the gifters, the followers, the subscribers. I love each and every one of you. Those who liked and shared the follow, thank you for your support. I sincerely appreciate you. I'm going to give everybody an opportunity now to give their final thoughts on this evening's conversation. What's up, Blue? I see you. So Duchess, we'll start with you.
Okay,
What
I
are your
got two
final
things and
thoughts?
then I'm dropping.
You
Number
bet.
one, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see the best morning live stream on TikTok, tune in to Adam He-Man. It's going to be awesome. Tomorrow morning, 6:30. Also, if you're out here calling people homophobic, transphobic, all the different phobics, you're being ableist because people with phobias, that's real. That is a mental illness, right? So you're being ableist if you're just out here yelling this at the top of your lungs. How dare you? Do better.
Thank you very much, Duchess.
Thank you
If you
for
wouldn't
having me.
mind, Duchess, if you wouldn't mind before leaving,
Huh?
go in the comments and leave Adam's handle so people can join in the morning and
Oh,
watch the best morning show there is
absolutely.
on TikTok.
Say less.
Thank you very much. Pishkadil, get back up here for your final thoughts. Deputy Dog, I'm gonna come to you last because you had quite a bit to say, but be prepared because I will be coming back for you. Jay, thank you so much for joining. Sorry we got you here a little late, but what were your thoughts on this evening's conversation and debate?
Um, obviously I guess the opposer of this, opposer of, I guess, saying like I do believe that, I'm for the LGBT and all that crap, but I just had a question for Deputy Dog, and that's I know we were ending it, but I just wanted to know like what does it have to how do you prove to the world that you're a man? Like how do you show it every day?
well, just say if I couldn't prove that I'm a man, right? Just say if I couldn't prove it. I could look at a woman and tell that I'm different. So just say
Yeah.
I couldn't prove it. Say if I didn't even know what a man was. but I can look
Okay.
at a woman and I can look at other men and tell the difference immediately. So, can I prove to you that I'm a man? Can we sit up here and go over semantics? Am I a man? Well,
Mm.
since you brought that up, I'm just gonna, and I don't want to take this biblical and start preaching the word to anybody, but I'm a very strong believer in the Holy Scriptures, and
I'm not.
the Lord thy God defined me as a man, and He defined a woman. And if you look at the Holy Scripture in the beginning of Genesis, He would say that man will go through this, and women will go through birth. They will go through
Okay.
menstrual cycles.
Okay,
So
but wait.
he
Before,
displays what he tells you what you're going to be.
okay, okay, great. That I'm so glad you went on with that. But that doesn't really answer my question because you're saying that these trans women and trans men are trying to prove to you that they're women or that they're
Yeah,
men. But that's
exactly.
not. But do they know you like personally? Like,
I don't
are
need
they?
I don't
I
need
mean,
them
it's
to
like,
know
I mean,
me.
like when you post something on social media or like your profile picture right there, you
Yeah,
have yourself, you have your mustache, your beard,
yeah.
you're trying to prove, right, that you're
I'm
a
not
man,
trying to prove
right?
nothing.
I mean,
It
you're not.
grew on my face.
Oh, okay. So like you're just that's just you. That's just, you're on TikTok, you post what you post a video, you're
Yeah,
valid, right?
yeah.
So someone coming to you and telling you, "Oh, so you think shoving yourself as a man in our faces, you think that's going to prove to us that you're such a man?"
I
Like,
didn't have to
you
show.
think
I
I
didn't
that
have to
you're
tell
personally don't
nobody
think
I'm a
he has.
man.
He doesn't have to prove to anybody because I think he walks around and it's just the case. It's just who he is.
okay,
He
so
doesn't
Exactly.
have to
like,
prove
but
it.
but right, but when it comes to people that are transgender, you guys think that or not, I'm saying you guys, I'm speaking of just deputy dog right now.
You're good. You're good.
But regardless, if you're telling me that you think all transgenders, you just know that they're transgendered, you're out of your mind because they're. I mean, I think
Okay,
anyone in
so
this panel
let me.
can
So
can at least agree or collectively agree that there are transgender people out here that you had no
so
idea and no true notice that that's the case.
okay, so
Or
I'll tell
just
you.
someone that's in general just a human being, you don't know what the hell they are because
Okay,
they don't show that feminine side or that so-called mass side that goes with the male and what goes with the female.
so
That's you're not making sense here. I'm just trying to figure it
okay,
out.
okay, so I'll tell you like this. I know what a man is and I know what a woman is. So for a man to tell me that they're female and that their brain is female, I never disagree with how they feel. But what I do say, I know what a man and I know what a woman is. So see, here's the deal. Everybody like yourself is trying to make all these semantics on non-binary, binary. I'm a man, I'm a woman. You guys are the ones that are convoluting things. And I look at it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm born a man. If I said that I'm a woman, I'm misgendering myself.
Well, obviously, are you a woman?
No,
Do
I'm a
you
man.
feel like okay? So why would you say that?
So a man who is a man, born biologically a man, is
Okay.
trying to say he's a woman. He's already misgendering himself because he's a
Okay.
man.
Are you that person?
No, I'm me.
Do you live in that person's shoes?
I'm me.
Are you? Oh, okay. So you're you, right? So then
Yeah.
you wouldn't understand what it's like to go through something
Look,
like that when it comes to gender dysphoria, right? You
if
know
you
that
would have
gender
heard,
dysphoria is a real thing, right?
no, I
You
don't believe it.
you don't believe it? Well, that's your own
No.
ignorance. That's your own
Well,
ignorance. I'm sorry to
so
tell
how
you,
am I
deputy
ignorant?
dog. It's
So how
okay
am I
to.
ignorant?
It's okay. It's okay.
So
All
Just
right,
just
what?
so
So what?
I'm just gonna put a pin in it, and so here's my critique after listening to the debate. We can't define something by saying what it is not. Gender dysphoria is an actual mental disorder. There are therapeutic treatments to help alleviate gender dysphoria, but somebody who is diagnosed with gender dysphoria will live their entire life with gender dysphoria. Jay and Deputy, I do want to thank both of you for joining. You're more than welcome to pick this up on the next live that I'm hosting, but I do want to thank you both for coming up here and sharing this evening.
thanks for having.
Thank you. All right, Amanda,
So
saving the best for last as always.
I just want to say, to that argument, I would say like people that are born one or the other don't walk around trying to prove it because it's just a fact. But what I'll say is, again, language is super important. We are literally wiping out um, a whole community, well, or a whole half of the earth, okay, women, we are literally trying to wipe them out by saying that they're an ideology. Um, Again, it's not about hate, it's about inclusion of women as well as inclusion of men, and not letting a small percentage take over language and life for those people that have existed always. I will be respectful, but I will not erase myself. I will use proper language that is proper, not that. And I will do the best that I can to continue to scream about this topic as much as I possibly can, whether people like it or not.
I appreciate you, Amanda, for coming
Thanks,
on as
Raw, for having
always.
me. Thank you for
No
having me.
problem. My pleasure. Rockstar, I had to bring you up. You're such a loyal advocate, and I appreciate you and your support. What do you got to say this evening, my man?
Not much, man. I was listening to you while I was driving and, killing it as usual. And just want you to know the next panel you have, let me know, shoot me a message when it is. I'd love to be on it. And, we'll just keep fighting the fight and making sure that males stay out of female spaces and just protecting the women of the world because they need it. And, it's becoming a lot crazier every day that goes by. And we got to continue to push back. But just wanted to come and tell you that you're a stud as always, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, my man. Keep fighting the good fight. It's what we're here to do. And I'll be back later this week, guys. We're going to be banging these ones out. Have yourselves a wonderful evening, folks, and spend some time with your loved ones.